I work as a car salesman at a suburban BMW dealership, a job that requires more than it sounds. Sales are not about promises or smiles. It comes from the struggle, the daily phone adventures of calling back and forth, of appointments that are held for a minute, then rescheduled for late nights or early weekend mornings. One day I got to work at 8 a.m. and left the showroom at 9 p.m. But my phone was always on my person, even while brushing my teeth or watching a movie. Customers don't wait, facilities don't double-check, so I'm used to it. Listen to every call, even if it's an unknown number, even if it's 10 p.m. Same thing that night. I was lying in bed, pulling the covers over my head, the pale blue light from my phone screen shining on the ceiling. It was past 10 o'clock. I was tired, but not sleepy yet. I planned to look at the foggy movie notes from yesterday. My mind was filled with trivial thoughts. Tomorrow's appointment at 9 o'clock. The car delivery order for the customer to sign at 3 o'clock. And an unanswered text message to an old friend from high school. Life was dull and boring, but I was used to it. And then, phone rings. Bright screen, an unknown number, no save name, no domain name, just a string of 10 harsh digits. I hesitated a moment, then hung up. My voice was polite, though a little slurred from fatigue. "Hello, this is me." No one answered. Just a layer special wave interference. Like someone turning on an AM radio during an electrical storm. I pursed my lips, holding the phone a little further away. The GPS was. "I hear your voice. Clear is very clear. Not like a voice, but my voice. Exactly me. Yes, I understand. Come to the showroom around Tuesday afternoon. I will keep your car until 5 o'clock. If you need anything, just call this number." I was speechless. That's what I told my client this morning. No mistake. I remember standing there comforting him in the showroom, holding a glass and making a phone call. I was always polite. And that voice, the cadence, the emphasis, the breath, every detail was just right. Scary. I had no more highlights. I held the phone to my ear, my whole body cold. The recording continued for a few more seconds, then turned to more static and machines. I sat up straight, my hands sweating. I don't know what's going on. A prank? Who's recording my call? But how? I don't make calls by opening the app. I use my personal phone, not Bluetooth. And if the customer is recording, why call me and play it back? I opened the call history. The incoming number had no name, no location, a random number in sequence. I tried calling back. Subscriber does not exist. I got up and walked around the room. My heart was still strong. I opened the window and breathed in the cold air to wake myself up. The night was surprisingly quiet. No car noise, no wind. My apartment was on the 3rd floor, overlooking an empty parking lot. Everything was normal, too normal. I went into the kitchen and drank a cold drink. My hands were still running. I am being watched. The feeling of sensation appeared suddenly like a final knife. No evidence, no image. Booty no. Like the way you feel someone standing behind you even though you can't hear footsteps. Like the feeling you get when you see noses breathing from inside the closet when the lights are off. I couldn't sleep that night. I lay under the covers, eyes wide open staring at the ceiling. Each tick of the clock sounded like a drop of water falling into my drained heart. I held the phone in my hand, staring at the waiting screen, hoping that the call was just some kind of network glitch. A technical error. But there is one thing I know for sure. It is not a mistake. Someone want me to know that they can do it. Not sure. No messages. No mail sent. No account hacked. They weren't necessary. Because just a recording of my own voice, late in the evening, was enough to completely defeat any sense of sensory integrity I had ever had. And that's just it. First night. I tried to dismiss the night as a technical glitch. A strange glitch in the network. Or, if I had the nerve to say so, a cruel joke from some customer. But the more I tried to forget, the more clearly the sounds echoed in my head, static. Then my own voice, reading each word as if copied from memory. Cold and completely emotionless. All day today, I couldn't concentrate on work. I kept checking my phone. Every time it vibrated, whether it was a text or a notification, I jumped. By afternoon, I automatically allowed myself to go home earlier than usual. I made an excuse of being tired. I didn't know why, because honestly, I don't know how to explain. When night falls, I don't turn on the TV like I usually do. I leave the room quiet. The room is dark. stripped down, my cell phone on the desk. I don't want to see the screen light up. I don't want to see that anonymous string of numbers again. And then, at 10:41 p.m., phone ring. I almost froze. I didn't need to see the screen to know, that's it. Scents cannot be mixed. Cool into the palm of the hand. Spread along the arm like electricity. I call back alone. There are some things that are not completely different from today. I shouldn't have listened. I know that. But I still pressed the button listen. This time, there was no immediate static. Just a gap of silence that lasted about 3 seconds. Then a clicking sound, like a recording started playing. And then, yes, the new X5 executive arrived this afternoon. If you need, I can choose someone to drive to the showroom so we can see the car before ordering the exhaust. I am on the phone. It's me. Another conversation. From today. I remember that conversation clearly. I was standing next to a newly washed white car, talking on the phone with a regular customer. And now, the main conversation was playing. By call from a completely unknown number. No customer voice, just my voice. Clear, coherent, almost emotionless. I held the phone to my ear, my hands shaking. The recording lasted for nearly 30 seconds. Then the noise faded in again. And, just like the night before, call ended. I threw the phone on the bed and stepped back, as if it had been a gunshot. My forehead was covered in cold sweat. I opened the liquor cabinet, ordered a whiskey, and dug deep without finding any spice. I'm watching. It's not a feeling anymore. It's truth. Someone is recording my conversations, just my voice. Not a Zoom contest, not a voice message, or the passages I talk on personal phone. In completely normal stories, the things I said that no one would remember. But there is someone remembered. And they found those things again, just as I was about to go to bed. I turned on the entire apartment. I checked all the locks. The main door, the balcony door, the kitchen window. No sign of entry, but I found no peace of mind. I looked everywhere for tape recorders, strange devices, hidden cameras. Nothing. I stared at the phone. For the first time in my life, it felt like it was no longer a tool. It was a gate that others are using to enter my life. Without having to knock, I tried calling the number again. A cold voice from the operator rang out. The phone number you have dialed does not exist. I'm afraid of myself. 2 nights in a row. 2 different numbers. 2 recordings off me. I couldn't get it. I opened the built-in voice recorder app and tried playing back the recordings I'd made from my calls with clients, hoping to find something like the one I just played. Nothing. I started wondering, could I hack the phone? Who was using the spyware? I went to Google, looking for ways to check for phone penetration. But all the instructions were general. And not deep enough to detect what I am looking for. I tried calling a close friend who works in tech. But I hung up before he picked up. I know if I say, hey, someone's been calling me every night and playing back my voice talking to customers, I'll sound like a jerk, start paranoid. And I started to get scared. That is exactly what is happening. My mother had mental health issues. The diagnosis was dissociative identity disorder. As a child, I would see her staring at a white wall, saying she heard someone calling her. I grew up terrified that one day I would become like her. And that night, in the apartment with the lights on, holding the phone like I was holding a bomb, I began to wonder, you have to send that date already? I don't know exactly how the 3rd day started. Everything was a blur, like I was living in a dream I couldn't wake up from. Every morning I woke up with red eyes, a pounding head, and shaking hands. I still went to the showroom, still greeted customers, still smiled and shook hands as if everything was fine. But inside, I didn't me anymore. I started looking at people with suspicion. Anyone could be behind the calls. The security guard who always smiled, the administrative lady who always used a Bluetooth headset, the old man who asked personal questions every time he came to buy a car. They all became ability in my head. On the 3rd night, I didn't wait for the phone to ring. I set alarm for 10:25. Already sitting at the table, eyes glued to the screen, heart pounding in the cage. At exactly 10:41, the phone rang. Strange number again. I sent the machine without hesitation. This time, the recording is from this morning, when I was talking to a couple about the new 5 Series. Yes, I will send you the extended warranty package via email. Also, there is a small promotion for a free ceramic coating package this week only. So if we decide quickly. I completely clenched my fist. Every word rang out like a hammering noise in my head. It's me again. My voice. The familiar sound properties. The way I say, yes. The way I emphasize it. Even the slight laugh I make at the end of sentences. Not a word wrong. No noise. No editing. Just a normal conversation, taken away. Isolated. And returned to me as a cruel reminder. We are here. And we are listening. The call ended. I jumped out of my chair. And walked around the house like a lost soul. I checked my phone again. Checked the call history. Wrote down each number. Every night there was so much different stuff. Every night a different sound. But all from me. I started keeping a detailed diary every night. The time of the call. The recording. The phone number. How it felt to listen. I hoped that writing it down might help me figure out the connection, or at least help me retain some sanity which I am losing. The fourth night, I was no longer afraid. I was angry. I called as soon as I got through the phone. What do you want? Who are you? You think this is fun? No answer. Just my voice, talking to a former customer. Yes, your car is in stock. We will update the transfer status today. I calmed down halfway. I am not famous anymore. After that night, I fell into a state of extreme stress. No sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I hear my own voice echoing in my head. Not a whisper, a real voice, as if someone is reliving what I have lived. Every single moment, I begin doubt everything around you. I don't keep my phone in my bedroom anymore. I leave it in the sink, between those stainless steel plates, as if the waves would not be up to standard. I bought one strange wave scanner. The second one is often used to detect hidden cameras or listening devices. I scanned the entire apartment, every nook and cranny, every outlet, even inside the refrigerator. Nothing. But it feels like someone is listening to me in silence, still not gone. I lock my house 3 times every night. I turned on all the lights in the room, including the balcony. I started carrying folding knife. Be person. I wrote an email to myself. The subject line was, if I disappeared, this is what happened, which records every call in detail. Time, feeling, and a list of phone numbers. I know that sounds crazy, but I cannot do that. Then on Thursday night, I was staring at my phone screen like a man waiting for a verdict. And on time, it will repeat the bell. I don't listen anymore. I want to scream, and scream. On the third time, I turned it back on. Not out of fear, but because I am tired. I was so tired that I could no longer distinguish between reality and fantasy. I started thinking about my mother. She had lived for years in a delusion that no one believed. And now, I understood how terrible it feels to lose reality. I'm drifting into that field. How much flow? No one can pull me back. And if I don't do anything, I won't be able to go back. I started recording everything. No more projects. No more continuity. Every call from an unknown number. I pressed the record button before picking up. I didn't know what for. Didn't know who to send it to. But please, I understood. I needed proof. I needed something real to prove to myself that this was happening. Is happening and I'm not crazy. Each recording is similar in one respect. Just my voice. No visitors. No background noise. Just the words I'd said that day, separate. Cold. Lifeless. Playing back like a tape someone had picked out at just the right moment. As if they were reminding me, we know. We heard. And now, you have to listen to yourself. By Friday night, I couldn't take it anymore. I called the local police department at 9 p.m. My voice shaking, but trying to stay calm. I think I'm being followed. I'm getting strange calls every night. Someone is playing my voice over the phone. It's my voice. What I said during the day. The receptionist, an elderly woman, asked again, is there any text, sir? No, no threats. But it's been happening all the time. Every night, some stranger calls and plays my voice back. I recorded it. I have proof. Have you had any property stolen? Was there any break-in? No. But sir, if there is no element of danger, trespass, or property damage, we cannot open criminal proceedings. But you can rely on an official report. Or, if you suspect your phone has been hacked, we recommend you change your device or contact your carrier. Her voice was very calm. Very, machines. I'm not angry. I'm just alone. I stumbled, not knowing what I had expected. An investigation? A word of peace? A sign that I wasn't alone in this story? I sat still for a moment and then decided to email the first recording to myself. Just in case my phone got broken or lost. I put on my headphones and played it back. For the first time, I listened carefully. Yes, if we pick it up this week, I will keep the black one for you. The warranty package will be included in the price. No additional charges. I heard my own voice in the recording. A very small breath, but clear. And then I noticed something I hadn't noticed before. Laughter. So light, so brief, almost invisible. But it wasn't there. I am not my smile. Another laugh. Soft, like someone might be holding it back, but still letting in a little. Then it was covered by my next voice. I feel alive. I rewind to hear it again. That laughter was not part of the original conversation. I'm sure, because I recorded the original when I called the customer. It's a habit to protect myself if there's a dispute later. I played the original again. No laughter. But there is still a lot in the recording. Unknown things over the phone. Laughter exists. Someone has said it in. I don't know if that makes me more scared or more relaxed. Because at least it proves that I ain't crazy, someone manipulating what I say. What I hear. What I feel. I burst into tears. Not weak, but because I'm too tired. Every night I live in endless doubt. Every morning I have to act like nothing happened. Smile at customers. Remember car prices and interior colors while my glasses are full of strange numbers and I smile in the opposite direction. I started thinking about my mother. My mother was once called crazy. The days when she looked into the darkness and whispered, "We are here." I used to fear her. Used to hurt her. And now, I understand her more than ever. Setup. Silence. The feeling that everyone is living normally, except you. You are the only one. Find another world rising silently from beneath the false peace. And the scariest thing is, no one believes you. I sat silently in the dark. The recordings echoing like my own voice from another dimension. I didn't know what to do next. Warnings wouldn't help. Friends would think I was paranoid. Family would worry, or worse, send me on a quest. I have only one choice left. Sever. I need a fresh start. A new phone number. A new phone. And something like hope, that if I disappear from this system, we will not find me again. I did it before. I always thought it was complicated, cumbersome, and only for people who were bothered by debt or infidelity. I changed my phone number. No change in stats. I'm still the same. Change device. Resubscribe to the Foot plan. Log out of all my personal accounts. And delete all my social media apps. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all gone in a single Sunday afternoon. I felt like I was erasing my own digital existence. Returning to a time when my phone was just a way to make and receive calls. Not a window into my private life. Telling my clients my new number was a torture. I chose to text only those who mattered to me. Those I knew, and those I had regular business contacts with. For the rest, I lied and said I had lost my old phone and was taking a digital detox to rest. No one suspected. Life went on. And, really, everything started to calm down. No more calls. No more recordings of myself. The first few nights, I woke up at the same time, 10:41 p.m., but nothing had happened. The phone was quiet on the table. The screen was black. No messages. No call. Nothing. Part of me began to relax. I resumed my habit of listening to music before bed, turning off the lights in the house, and even sleeping without locking my door. I was still skeptical, but increasingly, I learned to trust Yen again. Maybe I got away with it. By any means I disconnected that thing. 5 days after the number change, at 10:39 p.m., the phone rang. I don't know how to describe that feeling. The cold started at my spine and spread straight up my neck, covering my scalp. It was a momentary escape from my soul that I could determine. My hands were stiff. I just sat there staring at the glowing phone on my desk. Some strange, another unknown number, but on a new phone number. I didn't drop the phone. I didn't touch it. I wanted to ring. Seconds, 20, 30, it stopped. I write as if I were running a marathon. Sitting there, holding hands, my palms sweaty. I feel like I have just escaped death. But less than a minute later, no call back. This time I can't stand it. I pressed the listen button. And when the other end of the line rang, I had no doubt. Yes, please check my email. It includes the price list and vehicle configuration. I will send you a PDF file as well. My voice. The words I said this afternoon. When sending information to a new customer on a new phone number. From a new phone, this can't be happening. There's no way they could have gotten that recording. No one else knows this number. Except 4 people. No one. I dropped the phone to the floor. I leaned back against the wall, staring at the ceiling. I no longer felt fear in the usual way. I felt so funny. That feeling where you try your best to run away, to cut, to remove all the chains, to come back to life as a new person, only to find out what's following you isn't a scammer. It's something else, something that knows where you are, knows what you say, and can come at any time. That night, I did not sleep. I took the gun out of the box. The self-defense weapon I had bought 3 years ago but had never used. I sat at the dining table, the yellow light casting long shadows on the floor. And in my head there was only one sentence repeating. How could it find me? I checked every trace. Old account email login? No. Bluetooth? No. What apps were installed? I reset the phone but I opened the front camera and looked at my face. Thin, dark circles, pursed lips. I whispered, why me? I am not rich. I am not famous. I have no enemies. I live a peaceful, quiet life. I sell luxury cars, help others find their dream cars. I do not deserve to be the target of any evil game. So why me? And then, for the first time since it all began, a terrifying thought occurred to me. If no one is watching me, then could it be that I am letting something in without knowing it? I don't understand where it comes from, but it clings to me like a claw, holds like there's something inside me, an invisible part. Someone has hooked me and is broadcasting what I say. What I do, that I have no control over. I sat waiting for something to happen. A knock on the window, a band skier, a text, a laugh. But that night, nothing more. Just silent. And it was that silence that kept me awake. Because I know, it's not done yet. It just takes a step back, to prepare for something but bigger. I think hearing my own voice every night is the limit of my endurance. I was wrong. That night, it was raining palm leaves. The sound of them hitting the glass windows made the space even more eerily silent. I had turned off all the lights, except for the dim table lamps in the living room. The pale yellow light cast shadows on the notice board, stretching into cursed shapes as if whispering something that human ears could not hear. I sat on the sofa, eyes glued to the phone placed face down on the table in front of me. The wall clock showed 10:40. I knew what was coming. I no longer wished for it to end. The only thing I had left was an inner numbness, no more fear. No more resistance. Just wait. At exactly 10:41, the phone vibrated. Unknown number. Again a string that does not match any previous calls. I don't do projects. I press listen button. On the other end of the line, there was no interference like usual. Just absolute silence. No Vietnamese. No platform. I thought I misheard. Held the phone away to check. Still connecting. I put the machine back to my ear and listened. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Then I spoke up. I don't know who you are. What do you want from me? You've been following me long enough. If this is a game, then end it. If it's money, I have money. But if there's no reason, then you're wasting both of our time. I heard myself breathing heavily after that statement. Already, someone replied. A voice, like no other I've ever heard. Not a normal person's voice. It grinded, dented to almost no tone, like someone speaking through layers of sound transforming devices. Or like an echo from the bottom of an icy cave. Just 2 words. 11 o'clock. Already call ended. I put the phone down. Palms sweating. My heart wasn't beating as fast as usual. This time it will continue to exist in a rhythm. Not expected, but because I feel something has changed. The game is no longer one-sided. I am no longer a passive victim. I answered. I invited it, and now it chose the moment. I looked at my watch. 10:44. 16 minutes. I stood up, running, but strangely alert. I went straight to the bedroom, opened the safe, and took out the pistol. My hands moved smoothly as if I had done it 100 times. Although in reality this was the second time I had actually used it. I checked the main window, the balcony door, the windows. All the locks were there. But I knew it meant nothing. If it could call my new number after I had wiped all traces, then no door is needed to enter. I sat down, put the gun on the table and waited. 10:50. The minutes seemed to drag on forever. I could hear nothing but the steady rain outside. But inside me was a storm. My thoughts were whirling, overlapping, like 100 doors opening and closing at once. I started memorizing all the calls. My voice was about work, about clients, about technical information. Every bit was innocuous. Meaningless, without context, but somehow we were excerpted, rearranged, replayed, like a creepy refrain that suggested I was no longer in control of my main voice. 10:59. I stood up, my hand on the gun. The light was still on. My heart was beating fast. But no longer from fear, but from I'm about to face what has been manipulating me for over a week now. 11 o'clock. Nothing happened. No call, no typing, no music, no laughter, no interference. Just silence. I stepped out into action. There was no one in sight. I opened the main window. The cool wind hit my face, carrying the smell of rain and road dust. There is no one out there. I walked around the house, room by room, corner by corner, pistol in hand. Nothing. I went back to the living room. The phone was still on the table. The screen was black. No calls, no messages. I sat down on the chair. And broken. No success, no tears. Just feels like my whole nervous system is just right. There was no attack, no one entered, no action of any nature. But in my mind a door was opened. And something entered. Something that doesn't need a beat. Doesn't need my blood. Doesn't need a scream. It only needs one thing. My own voice. I was up almost all night. After the clock struck 11 and nothing happened, I still couldn't move from the living room chair. The desk lamp was still glowing yellow. The gun was still placed right next to me. The phone screen was black, lying still as if it had never been the center of the nightmare of the past week. But I don't reflect my eyes from anything. Not because I thought it would vibrate, but because I'm afraid if I turn away, something will change. It was as if I blinked, the fake, quiet world around me would shatter, revealing the truth that I wasn't ready to face. I sat still, holding the gun tightly, eyes glued to the light bulb, like a warrior guarding the last flame in the cold desert. Around 4 a.m. I was able to start the line. My eyes were down, my head back in the saddle. I fell asleep. No dream, just a deep black curtain, pulling me away without warning. I woke up at 7:12 a.m., the morning sun shining through the crack in my eyes. My neck hurt, my hands were numb from holding the gun all night. I opened my eyes, trying to focus. Everything seemed normal. Looks good. I got out of the chair, carefully replaced the gun in the holster, and headed straight for the kitchen to make some coffee. I needed something hot and bitter to get the thirst of last night out of my head. But as I opened it to take it, I stopped. The spoons have been mixed up. Normally, I would have them neatly arranged in a vertical row. Spoons on the left, tea on the right, but now, the stainless steel was mixed into the round bin. Some were even lying diagonally in the corner of the compartment, as if someone had rushed into the gold after using it. I held my breath. Then I opened the other drawers. The location changed. The fire that usually occurs in the spice jar is now outside, right next to the gas stove. I start the bedroom. The bed and pillows are still intact, but there is one detail that creates a cold, withdrawn life. A black stain on the mattress next to me. Dense, not obvious, but it is not mine. I live alone. No one has entered my room for a month. I had no cushion. I took a few steps back, looking around the room. The window was not searched. There was no sound. There was no sign of sudden force. But clearly, who was in here? Was on the map, and worse, was standing very close to me. Maybe just a few inches away, while I was sleeping on the couch. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was going to jump out of my chest. I went back to the living room and opened my phone. No call, no message. But the call history still has the last call. Call at 10:41 last night. I tried pressing to call back. The screen shows cold text. The number does not exist. I checked the windows, doors, and shutters. It's all still locked. But now I don't believe it anymore. I went back to the living room. I looked around the small apartment that I had once considered the safest place. And I realized, it is not mine anymore. Something has entered here. Quiet as a shadow, like a breath. It can't break the window. It leaves no debris. It to reproduce the disorder. The slightest disturbance of habit. And the faintest traces, enough to make you wonder. Did I forget? Followed immediately by, or did someone? I took the scanner from the cabinet. I bought it when I suspected there were hidden cameras in the house. I scanned the entire apartment again. As I scanned the wall area behind the TV, the camera vibrated slightly. A flashing light blinked. I sat down, Used a knife to pry off the lacquered wood behind the wall. Inside, deep nails between the pressed layers, is a small finger-sized device with a tiny antenna built into it. A recording device, or sound transmission. I fell to the floor. The bridge was spinning wildly. What keywords are put there? Who is in there? How long have I been living in a play without knowing who the deep audience is? I want to scream. I want to break. I want to blow up the whole house. But I just stood there, heart pounding, eyes brimming with tears, because I know we were here before. Last night, or before that, or still around here somewhere. And maybe they never left. I left my apartment the next day. I don't expect additional evidence. I don't wait for a new conversation. I don't ask anyone to verify for me what happened. I just know, if I stay there one more night, I won't be myself anymore. I packed a few essentials, clothes, some papers, the gun, and the hard drive containing the recordings. I drove 3 hours north to a small town where my uncle, a former policeman, now retired and living in seclusion in the woods, lived. He didn't ask many questions. He just looked at my face, saw the eyes of the halo, and nodded silently when I said, I need peace and quiet. I need safety. I was there for almost a month. No phone, no internet, just trees, birds, and the feeling that for the first time in a long time, unobserved. I started sleeping again, eating properly, cleaning the house for my friends, YouTube videos, and finally, I started listening to the recordings I saved, over and over again. But no longer to find clues, but to face them, to reclaim my right to be the dominant voice. When I returned to the city, I did not go back to my old apartment. I rented a new apartment, in an area with better security control, full cameras, and no one knew my new address except my family. I changed my phone number again, but this time, not out of fear, but because I wanted to start over. From scratch, owner's position, not the victim. And since then, almost a year has passed. I have never received any strange calls again. I have no voice. No 11 o'clock. Nothing. I still don't know who's behind that story. Unknown database. Can't find any concrete evidence. The following alert got my file, but they couldn't find anything concrete either. The recording device I found at home was just a cheap one. No memory. No manufacturer identification tag. It all seems like a dream, meticulously arranged so that I am the only one with the architecture. But the important thing is that I did step out of it. No need to use a battle, but by accept the things you can't control and learn to protect yourself from the little things. I tell this story not to scare you, but to remind you that we live in a world where privacy is disappearing every second. Every word, every action, every little habit, it can be recorded, tracked, even manipulated. And you don't realize it until it happens. You hear your own voice again through a strange phone in the middle of the night. I'm not encouraging you to be afraid of everything. I'm just encouraging you to believe in intuition. Don't ignore small signs that make you feel something is wrong. And most importantly, don't stay silent when you feel violated. Even if you have no proof, even if no one believes you, you still have the right to speak up. Because the truth is, the most dangerous people you don't need to believe exist. We just need you. Doubt yourself. Thank you for listening to this story all the way through. If you feel like what I've said has made you think, take a look at how you use technology, your phone, or simply let yourself be withdrawn before bed. Please leave a comment below. You can write, right finger, I've been there. No one believes me. Right finger, this story made me check my phone immediately. Right finger, my own voice through the speaker recording is enough to scare me. Please share this story with someone you think would benefit. Feeling lonely, watched, or doubting yourself? Who knows? Maybe this story will give them a little faith that they are not crazy. They just see things that others do not see. And if you want to continue to be accompanied by real stories, work alongside people, and stories that linger in your mind, don't forget bell, click like to support the character. Speech balloon, comment your feelings below. Right finger and subscribe to the channel after 0 hours to not miss the next stories. We will always be here, every night, to tell you the stories no one said.